we'll continue the meeting. So we were discussing budgets. Where was we?
So from what you agreed, me and Sam have calculated, you would end up with a preset figure of £416,967. That equates to an annual rate for a Band D property of £109.05, and that is an increase of 16.88%.
Better than we started.
Can it just be made aware, as I think it's fair to make it aware, that if we had changed the band of wages, which has been voted now, it would have gone down to...
So if we were just doing the changes to the wages without that additional 5,500 we were also going to remove, so just with the changes to the wages, it would have done 15.25% increase.
So it's 1.5% difference, just so you're aware of the...
But that doesn't include the additional reductions we were doing.
So, would anyone like to propose any more changes? Or are we going with that?
We'll see where it is over the morning.
Personally, I think we've gone through it in quite some detail.
Well, I think you've already, based on your votes, Chairman, you've already agreed A, which is your budget for the financial year. So we've now done the calculations to tell you what that budget comes to as a precept. So you've agreed your budget because you voted on it. It's now agreed.
We voted on the change regarding the HR. We didn't actually.
No, you were voting on the. No, you did. So you agreed your budget first, which was the first proposal, was agreeing that budget. The second agreement is agreeing the precept, which is what we've just calculated. Based on the budget you've agreed to set, which is with those changes amended,
Right.
you are getting a precept of 416,967 and a percentage increase of 16.88%. That is your precept. So you've done item A, you're then agreeing to set your precept based on the budget you've already agreed.
Right. Do any vote required on that?
Yeah, you need to have the vote.
Right.
Okay, I'll propose it then.
I'll second it. Who's in favour of that?
I'm going to have to vote yes, because I think we can't leave it where it isn't
Yeah.
over the amount.
So that is, go again, please, on the yes. So 1, 2, 4. 4 in favour, that's an override. So that's it, done, yes?
Yeah, I want my vote recorded against, please.
Okay, thank you.
Me too as well, thank you.
I'd just like to make it clear though, Chairman, that
Yes.
I'm not particularly happy with the increase. It's just I'm understanding that if we were to have a hand vote again, you would have the vote and there wouldn't be the necessity to do it. I think 16.5%, 16.88 is still high.
Yes.
I just wanted to make that clear.
We do understand, Sam, this is 2 years of bumping up, isn't it?
It is, but unfortunately, as been, it's kind of the public won't necessarily see the mistakes that should not have happened in the past.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is as the gentleman over there said, the mistake shouldn't have happened and they shouldn't be paying for it now, and so we can't get away from it. It's just got to be clear that there have been mistakes, and hopefully that will be the end of the mistakes.
Yes,
so maybe
indeed.
we'll have to go through this again. One can only hope.
Right, Open Spaces Committee, item number 10, update from Dan Taylor, Open Spaces team for information. Has everyone seen that? Isabel?
I just want to draw your attention to a few items and then we can move on. So, in the first section where it's talking about the changing places toilet, They have been out, they have had a look. There is a fault with a mag lock that's going to cost £650 plus VAT. We have had them out to inspect the hoist. They have refunded the cost of that visit because it turns out that the hoist had been removed previously and we knew that it had been removed, except we were never told it had been removed. So therefore, we would never have called them out again had we known it had been removed. So they're now going to give us a price for reinstating the hoist. So until we get all that information, there's no point telling them to do the maglock because we need to do the whole thing together if we're going to do it. So that's that one. And then at the end, he's got his additional operational needs. He's been trying to get contact at UAH because their fencing that is on our side to the park has got several places where it needs repairing. He's getting absolutely nowhere, so he would like somebody from the office team to send some communication a little bit more official because he's not getting anywhere, so can we please action that? And then they also require another bleed kit at a cost of £108.95. But he can action that himself with his spending authority. So those are just the points that he wanted raising.
Thank you. Sam?
This maglock, I assume, is for that toilet that was put in.
Yeah.
My only question would be, and it's obviously a very difficult question to answer, is how can we be sure that it doesn't happen again?
Very difficult to.
Yeah, so to spend the money, it could go within a day, it could be broken again because we haven't got any CCTV or anything to...
Yeah, and we are covered for faults,
But not
but
for damage.
not for vandalism. So
there's a lot of money on the idea that it will probably get broken quite quickly again, I would assume. But then again, it's a service to the public that needs to be done, so... Catch-22 there, that is, isn't it?
Okay. See if that update will happen with the update. Yep. Right. Item B, emergency grave digging cover for consideration. Isabel?
again, you've had the figures come out. This was for the odd occasion where you have a cremated remains and members of staff are either on holiday or then somebody else goes off sick and you haven't got cover to do it. We've asked the grave digger who does all of our grave digging for a price, and it's £50 per intern. So yeah, we've got to do it. If you've got a cremation booked, you can't really turn around and say sorry but can't do it. So
No.
for £50 I think it's a reasonable amount.
Doesn't seem. That need a vote on it? We're good with that?
Yeah, you need to vote on it.
And
Yeah, okay.
I'll propose.
By a seconder?
Yeah, I'll second that.
All in? Yeah. PPE is committee. Quote for electrical testing for consideration. Isabel?
Okay, so electrical testing, as some of the members of the public that are sitting in here will be well aware, this has been ongoing for some time.
It has.
So we are now in a position that I have managed to get some pricing for the electrical certification that is outstanding, that we have to do by law, so we need to get on with it. They have quoted for either all of the properties. So one of them is quoted for, so the properties that it includes is 2 and 4 High Street, the Bowls, not the Bowls, but the Band Hall and Cemetery Chapels for certification. One has quoted, given an amount of 1,520 plus VAT for all of those, but then that will be dependent on what they find when they get there. If it's slightly more, it might change it slightly. The other one is quoting £20 per circuit, so we don't actually know what the full cost is going to be. So those are your two options on that one. And then I also asked them to give quotes for PAT testing, because we need that on the equipment that we have in the parks teams situation and also all of the equipment that we have in Coombe. So both of them are basing it on £3 per item, and one of them is offering a discount if you have 40 items or more. So you've got two options. Personally, they're both local firms, they're both reputable firms. Because we don't know how many circuits are in each of the properties, I would tend to go for the one that's given the ballpark figure of 1,520 for all of the properties, if it were me.
Is that a proposal?
That's my proposal.
Seconded?
Sorry. Is there any way of finding how many circuits there are, or is that because, if I remember correctly, they've got to go diving through the attics and through
No, it's done with the, they'll look on the circuit board and then they'll work from there. But because certification that was done previously is not on the system, I can't give them that, else they could look at that and then they'd be able to know. As I can't find said certification because it's somewhere else, I can't give them that information.
Can we not have a guesstimate with looking around the property ourselves, or somebody looking
Well,
around?
we could, but this is pending, this has been ongoing now since the summer, and we are
Getting close to where it needs to.
we are beyond getting close.
Right.
And it needs to be done as a matter of urgency because our insurance company will not insure us if we haven't got them.
No, that is certainly true.
Thank you. Tim?
Just there's no name on this quote, who's private
No.
quotation.
Well, does it matter who they are? They're both local companies, and the fact is that if you had a name on there, then some people would say, oh, we don't want to use that person, or we do want to use. It's you're going on what they are offering you. They're both offering exactly the same price for your pack testing, so it doesn't matter which one you go for. And the other one is either per circuit or as a entity of 4 properties, they are £1,520.
Which just it seems rather strange not providing the names of companies at all. But that's okay, that's fine.
These are estimates rather than full-on quotations, because
Still
they don't
expect to
know what they are going to find until they get there.
I would
because
still
they
expect
haven't
to see the company when his name. That's all, so we use the right.
Well, I submitted that information to the acting clerk, and that's how she sent it out.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Sorry, does someone want to say something?
Sorry, no, I was just, I'm sorry, I said something there, and I might just speak with my mind, because it's basically,
Yes, and I
if it
agree
given
with
name
that.
in closed session rather than in public session, but I shouldn't have said anything, sorry.
Just as a thing, just because figures are important, aren't they? It
Yep.
comes out as 76 circuits at the 1520. So I want.
Or properties, that is. So,
I unfortunately that's not
Yeah, no,
my own
that's fine.
property,
Yeah,
but that's it.
yeah.
I wouldn't know if that's about the ballpark figure for the amount of properties or not. Would you say that it
I
is?
would say it potentially is. I mean, because it's slightly different with commercial than it is with residential.
That's why I'd
so.
be less inclined to have a guess myself.
Depends on how you define a circuit, isn't it, really?
Well, and that's the other thing. The thing is, you don't want to pay the larger amount if you're going to under, but you don't want to pay 20 quid a circuit and find out you're doing 90 circuits. That's what you've got to kind of go on, isn't it?
That's why, personally,
In your opinion, as a...
In my opinion, I would go for the one that is saying what they are actually going to charge you, rather than the one that is, well, there's £20 a circuit. If we don't know how many circuits we've got, they could say there's 100 circuits and we wouldn't be any the wiser, would we?
Do you want to propose that then?
I guess I would.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm happy to follow the advice, so I shall...
Yeah. Okay. Vote on that then? Yep. So, item number B, CCTV for consideration. I'm not sure we've got an update on this, have we, at this point?
No, nothing.
I believe we're still waiting to hear back from South End required. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
Did you, was it this, I can't remember, I've got notes with it. Is this the one where you were going to contact the
Correct.
the other council?
No,
The other
No.
parish council?
the other parish council was paying it in full.
Right.
But we also agreed to write a letter offering a contribution, and that email has been sent, I understand, Isabel, and we haven't had a reply. So
Okay.
Item number C, planning matters and applications for consideration. I know a public member asked to speak to me in an email earlier, so let's go do that first. Carry on.
Okay, could I actually, because there are a lot of bits and pieces within that one topic of item C, could we actually just go to the letter of notification of appeal for the confirmation letter for the Coldwell Farm, Holbeach St Matthews? Do you have the paperwork there, because it wasn't put in the supporting documents? I'd be interested to know which one it is first of all before I say any more. I believe you asked the clerk. I believe that you asked the clerk to produce that document for you.
Yes, they had trouble with the download, I believe, but I believe, send it to all councillors.
There was a link sent out
Yes,
to them.
I sent a link out to all councillors, yes.
And can you tell me what the document was about? Was the document that you sent out, was it the one which was for the notification of it was started, or was it for, which was sent on the 11th of November, or was it the one sent on the 18th of December? Because there's two pieces of paper that corresponds with the same planning details. One is a notification of appeal, one is notification of when the meeting is, and I want to know which piece of paper which actual item you've been discussing under this.
It's just be the appeal generally. We've received both.
Right.
The link that was sent out is all of the documents that are on the Southend District Council website, because obviously you've got all of the supporting information on there as well. So we have been sent both circulated to us as all councillors.
Right, okay. So therefore the 11th of November one was asking for you, was telling you about the informal hearing, and it was inviting you to make any other further representations. Do you know if any was made?
No.
There wasn't made. Okay. With regard to the meeting, which you've been notified about as well tomorrow here, which is actually taking place tomorrow, can I ask whether the council is actually sending any representatives to support their objections that they put forward and submitted already? Are they going to be supporting the people out in the villages, some 1,000 odd people who are now going to be paying an extra 16.88% on their precept?
We're not sending anybody. We haven't agreed.
We haven't agreed to send anyone at this point.
You haven't agreed to send anybody from the council to support the people. 1,000 odd houses plus maybe 1,500 houses around that part of the world. 25,000, 30,000 quid, something like that, off the precept.
So, from my point of view, with planning background, knowing what the appeals are like, yes, by all means, the parish council could send somebody. If they have no planning knowledge or anything, I mean, you've got far more knowledge of the application, to be fair, Pat, than most people sat around the room. If they haven't got any knowledge, they are going to be not very much use at all. I get the whole point about representation, but in planning terms of actually affecting any judgment or anything, they're not going to be of use. Personally, given that I was on the committee who actually decided the application, I wouldn't be able to be sent on behalf of the parish council. So,
no, you couldn't be there to represent the parish council because you were there on the committee.
Because I was decided. So
I'm going to ask, but it's not committee because it's Southend District Council. Will you be attending as a Southend District Councillor? Because as of Friday, you weren't on the list to be doing it. And in fact, ironically enough, none of the committee from Southend District Planning are actually going to be at this meeting as of Friday last week.
no. So generally, that would be represented by the officers. And personally speaking, as a planning officer, I would much rather the professional officers who've written the reports and done everything and read and had time to read all documents be representing the council than the individual councillors. No offence to the councillors, but that's to give it the best chance.
Apologies to the chair that we're discussing Southend District Council,
Yeah.
but as you know, the planning officers who are dealing with this have changed so many times over the whole of this thing that the person who's there now doesn't know as much about all the other people, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying that, you know, the public do like to know that you are supporting them, and if you've had all these details through, you've had no meetings to discuss it, because you know, it isn't mentioned on any of the meetings, or we've had a letter from this one here on the 11th of November, so the next meeting, 8th of December, they would have been mentioned, but there's no mention on the agendas about it. So it has been discussed. You may have discussed it between yourselves, but it hasn't been done through the full council because you've got no planning committees. And I'm sorry to go on about it. These are the priorities you have to get right.
Okay. Right. You want to go through the planning applications?
Has anybody looked at them? Has anybody looked at the documents? Has anybody actually taken the time to go through these? Because if not, what's the point in us even discussing them? Because if you haven't looked at the documents, you can't make any comment, can you?
No.
So has anybody actually looked at the documents?
I've looked at a few of them, yes, but not enough to say all of these.
I agree with Scan as well, that's all I've done.
Yeah, and I can confirm that the time hasn't allowed us to look at all these documents in the integrity it needs.
So, I mean, just scanning through them, I suspect there's several of them that probably out of time anyway, to be honest. Some of them may, because they're simple ones, being determined already, because we've had a bit of a backlog. There are key ones we should really be concerned about, but unless you've read through everything, you can't make a genuine comment. Personally, I haven't been able to read through them because I physically can't read the documents very well at the moment. If I could, I would have done. But I think the council need to decide how they're going to deal with these applications moving forward, given we haven't got a PPS committee. If there are key ones that come in, you're either going to have to look through them and try and provide a formulated response at full council, but it does take quite a bit of time looking through all the documents, so you need to weigh up what you can and can't do. And also, if members haven't got knowledge of planning training and things like that, I know some of us have, some of us haven't, you perhaps don't know exactly what you can and can't comment.
I can confirm that's... We did it last time, please.
Last time, it will be the last time. This is one of the reasons why I suggested about the council training budget being so small. And if you haven't read through there, then in the nicest possible way, please don't vote on, because there's one there, Tinsley, that I went and had a look at, that I thought to myself, I'm not sure about that, but I thought it's not my responsibility, it's responsibility of the council.
Yeah.
So if you're not prepared to do the job, I don't know why some of you are sitting around the table.
Because there's nobody else to do it.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
And see you in May.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Right. So, we haven't had enough time to review these in detail. Lack of councillors, lack of staff.
No, to be fair, Richard, these were sent out as they came in,
You have
as they always
a
are.
good amount of time to respond.
So people have had time, and individuals can make comment on themselves on the portal if they choose to. The fact is that we don't normally have to address these at full council because PPS would normally do it for you. But we haven't got PPS committees, so now it's down to us.
Mm-hmm.
These are important matters. I mean, there's some on there that, you know, there's a one that is a multiple occupancy in the middle of town. Surely to goodness, that is something that we should be having an opinion on. But, you know, if only one of us or two of us around this table had actually looked at them, we as a council cannot make a decision. And, you know, these are the sort of things that really rile the public. And we are their servants. And I keep banging on about it. But if we are not even interested in what's going on in our town, through planning, where we can have an opinion and we can actually be consulted, then why do we bother? I mean,
I think you've just said we haven't...
Why are we here?
I think you've just said it's Bill the PPS, but he hasn't got enough staff, and we haven't got enough staff. We're 6 again. Now, if we want to have more, we could have more time to look at these, and we could perhaps set up a meeting. We've got to have another meeting, an emergency meeting to discuss the insurance.
These
so
will
we
be
could
gone out by then.
bung that
Most
on.
of them will be finished, and the date that you have to respond will have already gone. But like I said, they came out as they were sent to the deputy clerk email, as they always do, and they're pinged out as a consultation. some of them we've had for probably 3 weeks.
I mean,
So,
the thing is I get, parish councils are not going to have the time to go through everything in detail, nor are they going to have the planning knowledge. What parish councils need to understand is what powers they do have, what is their purpose in the planning system. You don't need to just regurgitate stuff the planning officers already know, to be honest, because we already see that. And the key things to look out for, to be honest, because on these applications I can immediately pick out which ones I would look at and which ones I wouldn't.
yeah.
If we're going to make best use of our time for the public, that's what we really need to be doing. And the key point that we can do as a parish council, which we have never done, really, is call it into planning committee, which I struggle with because a lot of the controversial applications are often within the wider parish and not in Holwich town. I am not allowed as a district councillor to call in an application outside of my parish, outside my ward, sorry. So what the parish council can do is quite often when you get a lot of these more rural ones like the solar farms and other bits and pieces that are of concern, as long as you basically make a material planning reason, which could be minor, you could just say, look, we've got a lot of public objection to this, we're concerned about parking, blah, 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 we would like it to be discussed by the planning committee. It could be a simple comment even like that, but it just raises the profile of that application within the discussions. So you don't try and be planning experts, is what I'm saying, on everything, and don't feel like you have to read through a lot of the stuff. But key ones where you know, like HMOs, the public are going to be concerned. Key things they're concerned about: noise, parking. To be honest, that's typically the concerns. Just put that in a set of comments. Like, it's going to come up time and time again. So it's just knowing those things to look out for.
Yeah, and I think there's some training perhaps needed there. Like, so I don't know what I don't know. I can look through there. I don't know what I'm allowed to say, what I'm not allowed to say, etc. And I'm always as honest to everyone. There's no point me commenting enough if I don't know if I'm allowed to comment, or etc. 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 So I'd have tried if someone can find some training and we can go on some training as such, and that will help us all out. I'm all for it.
There is very little that us as a parish council or even an individual can do, unless, because most of the common sense things you'd think were to do with planning, they're irrelevant.
Yeah.
So you've got to know exactly what it is you want to complain about and be sure that it's something that they might take into account.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot.
Which is hence why I say some kind of training, because I can't comment and say I'm not allowed. I don't have appropriate training to do.
Yeah, I mean, there are very basic things that we can look at, so you know what stuff you're looking at, and there's lots of training and stuff out there for people, so
Okay.
I think it'll be worth doing.
Yeah.
So do we have to say that one or what?
You can't defer, it's been gone by the time we really can.
Yeah. So you're just going to have to not submit any comments if you haven't,
Okay.
unless there's anything that anybody really feels strongly about on that.
Well, I can't think of anything. The appeal thing.
Like,
It's just going to get through, isn't it? Because the inspector will just pass it through. You know? I can't see any reason why it shouldn't.
With the national landscape, yeah, definitely.
If you could think of something to say that might just go through, at least we could show we've done something, but if it's not too late already.
They would have they're having a hearing tomorrow, unless you go to the hearing and there's nothing to do.
Yeah.
But they have all of our original comments,
Yeah.
so they will be taking them into account.
would a face help? I know that face might not know nothing about anything, but would a face help?
I don't know whether you're able to say, because I think you have to reply saying you're attending before now. I mean, given it's tomorrow. And also if you've got no experience of planning appeals at all,
Yeah.
you probably make it, if you have an incompetent parish council at a planning appeal or committee, the inspector's probably not going to look favourably.
Right, exactly. So,
to be honest.
yeah.
The public will go, oh yeah, they're represented, but other than ticking a box.
Oh, they do turn up to these
Yeah, because I'm happy to put a face to it, but I don't know, I haven't got enough details to do it. So if someone advised a face would help, I would personally take my time to do it. But if it's not going to help, it's
I
not.
think we've got to just let it go.
Yeah.
Can't see the alternative.
Sure.
preempting, which I haven't noticed, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, that you hit your 2 hours at 8:30 and I don't think you voted to extend. And somebody is going to say that's not me, but I can preempt there being a Facebook comment about that.
Yeah.
Is it too late?
It's
36
36 minutes
over.
too late.
Yeah.
It's better late than never.
Okay.